his name was Maui.
Of all the franchises to come from Disney in the past decade, I think Moana has some of the most interesting world building. The inclusion of godly entities and demigods alike insert powerful characters capable of changing the world with a snap of their fingers. Moana has faced off against numerous enemies now, each of them dangerous and capable of pushing her people toward extinction. The stakes are always high when Moana crosses paths with a god, which is why her films are always a thrilling adventure. In my opinion, the inclusion of various godly beings was a fantastic creative direction for Moana. In today's video, I want to discuss the ones introduced in the franchise so far, as each has a crucial role in the narrative. Number 1. Te Fiti. The Moana franchise has a strong start by introducing the idea of omnipotent beings through the goddess Te Fiti. She is one of the overarching protagonists in the first film, despite having minimal screen time and character interaction. Naturally, anyone unfamiliar with the films would question how she could have such a monumental role, but in the world of Moana, she's an entity capable of creating life. Te Fiti used her abilities to create the islands of Polynesia. These islands include Motunui, where Moana's people are from. Therefore, Te Fiti is the lone goddess responsible for Moana's people and their lives of prosperity. That is, until Maui steals her heart and she succumbs to Te Kā. Te Fiti was the first godly figure to touch the world of the vast ocean. After creating her island, she puts herself to rest, forming into a dormant island herself. During her centuries of rest, her heart became the desire of countless powerful entities, from the massive sea crab Tamatoa to the Kakamora. Despite the many creatures who have tried to wrong her in the past, Te Fiti forgives Maui for his transgressions. Te Fiti's forgiveness and generous nature speaks about her character and her values. As Mother Nature incarnate, Te Fiti is kind, nurturing, and concerned with the well-being of humanity. She is thankful for Moana's heroism and the many risks she took to restore her heart. As of Moana 2, it seems that Te Fiti has repaid Moana tenfold, as the people of Motunui continue to prosper, expanding their families and the size of their village. Moana also brings new discoveries, including fruits to her people, which shows that many islands across the ocean are thriving. Number 2. Te Kā. As it turns out, Te Fiti has a darker side that is brought out when Maui steals her heart. Without her heart, the source of her kindness and ability to create life, Te Fiti twists into the vengeful and malicious Te Kā, who would burn everything in her path. Te Kā lacks benevolence and desires to undo all of Te Fiti's hard work, which causes a curse to spread across the ocean, bringing death and destruction in its wake. The curse is strong enough to gradually end humanity at large, as the islands of Polynesia deal with waning food supplies and turbulent waters. Te Kā is also less forgiving than her counterpart. When Maui first steals the heart of Te Fiti, he is confronted by Te Kā when trying to sail away from the island. He is punished for his crime as Te Kā leaves him isolated on a small, desolate island, which lacked proper shelter or any sign of life. Te Kā intended for Maui to spend eternity on the island, which would have been torture for an immortal. Maui is also powerless until he's saved by Moana, as he lost his magical fishhook and Te Fiti's heart after facing Te Kā.
But was confronted by another who sought the heart. Te Kā.
Number 3. Maui. The most we know about the gods from Moana comes directly from Maui. As a demigod, his character acts as a bridge between mortals and the gods they worship. He has hands in both worlds, which means he has immeasurable power and the habit of making mistakes. The most prominent example is that Maui wants to feel appreciated, accepted, and loved by humans. His many acts of heroics didn't come from the kindness of his heart, but were his desperate attempt to become beloved by mortals. His desire for acceptance comes from his tragic backstory. Born as a human, Maui was abandoned by his mortal parents. Fortunately, he was found and raised by the gods, who gave him countless abilities in return. Throughout the first film, Maui and Moana work together to restore Te Fiti's heart. Along the way, they recover Maui's magical fishhook, which allows him to summon power and helps him shapeshift into various animals. Maui struggles to work as a team, but he quickly finds that Moana is his first true friend, who loves him for who he is rather than what he can do. After they succeed in their quest, Maui returns to handling supernatural-level threats. He's already well aware of Nalo and his attempts to keep humanity separated. Maui attempts to stop him alone, but is inevitably brought to Moana's side. In the sequel, Maui appears much more adept at battling gods and working with a team, which highlights how much he has grown since meeting Moana.
What?
I figured it out. You know, the ocean used to love when I pulled up islands.
Number 4. The Ocean. The ocean isn't described as a godly entity in the films, but its presence on Earth does predate the gods and humanity alike. The ocean is also a sentient creature capable of emotional connections, loyalty, and destructive power. In the first film, it's established that Moana has always had a connection with the ocean, feeling drawn to the shore and what lies beyond. As it turns out, the ocean had chosen Moana to restore Te Fiti's heart, knowing that she would do whatever necessary to protect her people. Although the ocean is capable of devastating feats like tidal waves and ship-sinking whirlpools, it's a relatively gentle and nurturing entity. In the same way it looked after Moana from a young age, it doesn't hesitate to play with Simia in the sequel, parting the water to let her watch the fish. The ocean also looks after Moana, ensuring she stays on the right course and survives dangerous encounters. Although it wasn't able to help her during Nalo's storm, it immediately rushes to her side when the curse is lifted. It shields Maui and Moana, allowing the demigod to mourn their mutual friend for as long as necessary. I suspect that we'll learn more about the ocean, its sentience, and its connection to Moana in future installments.
Maui?
Number 5. Matangi. Matangi is the second demigoddess introduced by the franchise, and her abilities remain a mystery. She acts as a secondary antagonist during Moana 2, but her interactions with Moana heavily imply that she's acting against her will. Matangi first captures Maui, keeping him hostage so he can't intervene with Nalo's plans. Yet when Moana arrives in her underwater prison, Matangi teaches Moana about the Wayfinders' need to take the road less traveled, before reuniting her with Maui. As it turns out, Matangi was only keeping Maui hostage to reunite him with Moana, as she believed they would only be capable of stopping Nalo together. Matangi is banished to her underwater prison by Nalo and can't escape with the others, but she chooses to help them despite the risk. It's possible that her abilities are dampened by Nalo, but she still manages to best Maui in battle. Despite also being a demigod, Matangi's abilities vary from Maui's. In her brief appearance, she flies, scales walls, and has extreme agility. She also has countless pet bats that will protect her as a swarm. In the mid-credit scene, she is summoned and recaptured by Nalo, who suspects she helped Moana.
A true wayfinder doesn't know the path at all. That's the whole point.
Number 6. Nalo. As the newest antagonist in the franchise, Nalo's name is dropped frequently in Moana 2. He's a god with the ability to control massive storms, leaving him with wind, rain, and lightning at his disposal. Unlike some of the other gods who help humanity prosper and choose a few to become demigods, Nalo hates humanity and wants to see them fall. Nalo believes that humans have strength in numbers, so to grow his power, he lessened their own. Centuries ago, he sank Motufatu. The sunken island once served as a central point for everyone in the Polynesian islands, as it had currents reaching in all directions. Moana's wayfinding ancestors were the last to try reaching Motufatu, only for their ship to wreck. Nalo has no qualms with killing humans, as he also takes Moana's life. However, her resurrection as a demigoddess and lifting of Motufatu's curse has him eager for revenge.
Our ancestors believed there is an ancient island hidden in a storm. Stepping foot on its sands will break the curse.
Number 7. Moana. As the titular character in the franchise, it's no surprise that Moana becomes favored by the gods. As a mere mortal, she restores Te Fiti's heart and defeats Nalo. These two acts make her deserving of a demigod status, which she receives after losing her life. The gods revive Moana as she's mourned by Maui and her ancestors, giving her newfound abilities. Unfortunately, Moana becoming a demigoddess occurs at the end of the film, so there's not much time to delve into her new abilities. So far, it seems that she has powers connected to her oar, giving her a magical artifact similar to Maui's fishhook. At the very end of the film, Moana creates a path through the ocean, insinuating that her unique abilities connect to navigation.
Sail across the sea and restore the heart of Te Fiti. I am Moana.
With 3 new otherworldly entities established in Moana 2, I suspect that future films and spin-offs will include more gods and demigods. Now that Moana has received new abilities, she'll be able to stand against enemies as powerful as Nalo without risking her life. I look forward to seeing how their paths cross moving forward, as they may become lifelong adversaries to one another. Fortunately, Moana has more allies than Nalo, and he was right about one thing: people are always stronger when they work together.
We'll break the curse and reconnect all of our people.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated on our uploads.
If you want to break Nalo's curse, you gotta stop playing it safe, sis.